recording. Fine. It should work now. Yeah. The Mangala Charanas are Yenakshara Samamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat Kritsnam Vyakaranam Proktam Tasmai Paninaye Namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Hashyakaram Patanjalim. Then Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam. So we have prayed to the three Munis, the Munitrayas of Vyakarana, the Bhashyakara, the Sutrakara, and the Vakya or the Vartikakara. Now we begin with Abhyasa 1. So as we have already discussed in some of our previous, the previous introductory class, there is a structure in which this book proceeds. And we will mostly follow that with additional interventions from ashtadhyayi.com and other resources. So I hear a voice. If there is not something important that can be, they can mute. But if there is a question, we can obviously take that question. Anyway, so there are a few things that they have talked about, and let us look at them. First is the Shabda Rupas, okay, and then the Dhatu Rupas, and third are the Avyayas. So the first thing that we look at is the Shabdas, or even better to use two technical terms. One is Pratipadika. So I will quickly write here the term. One second. Pratipadika. So there are two terms that we need to know very clearly. Pratipadika I'm writing it with my mouse, so that makes the writing very slow. But pardon me for that. Pratipadika, and the other term is pada. So two terms, very important. Pratipadika is what we call as the Moola Shabda, and pada is a Shabda which has undergone some modification which will make it a conveyor or a part of a sentence, either a conveyor of some artha in a sentence, or much better to say a part of a sentence. For example, we can take a very simple word. The word is Palaka. Now most of these things are written in Hindi, but we will certainly look at some of these things also from an English perspective. Balaka. So what is Balaka? Balaka is a child, a male child. Now, Balaka is the Pratipadika. And when I say Balakaha, Balakau, anything like that, that becomes a pada. So, you see that the moola word, the original word balaka, has undergone some transformation, and the transformation makes balaka turn into balakaha, balakau, or something like balake, balakeshu, something like that. So that is the difference between a pada, a pratipadika and a pada. Now, why pratipadika? I also said that what is a pada? Pada is that which becomes part of a sentence and in conjunction with other words goes on to convey a unified meaning. Okay. So when I say balake or balakasya griham Dilli Nagare Asti. We will come to how we are constructing these sentences later, but just look at this sentence. Balakasya Griham Dilli Nagare Asti. The child's home is in Delhi. Therefore, Balakasya, there is a sense of belonging, the sense of relation between Griham. We could have said Griham Dilli Nagare Asti. Kasya Griham, whose Griha? Then we say Balakasya Griha. So this Balakasya in conjunction with other words like Griham, Dilli Nagare Asti is conveying a unified artha. That's very important to understand. Balakasya Griham Dilli Nagare Asti. Now, if I had just said Balaka, it would not make any sense. It would not make any sense. We cannot say Balaka Griham Dilli Nagare Asti. Balaka is a Pratipadika. Balakasya is a Pada. And we have a rule, a maxim in Sanskrita. What is that? It is apadam na prayunjita. Apadam na prayunjita. There is a dirgha e in ja over there. So what is being said? Never use a apada, or rather in our context, in the current context, a simple pratipadika in a sentence. Therefore, you have to use a pada. So that's one thing that we have to be very clear of. Now, what are the other things that are being shown here? You look at this thing, ka. This is a list. It is a list of pronouns and proper nouns, or nouns for that matter, not even proper nouns, but nouns. So, there are some pronouns which we call as sarvanamas. Kiska, wo, uska, jiska, all of these things that we say in Hindi are sarvanamas. When I say Hamir ka, Prantika ka, Divakar ka, in that case, it ends up becoming a pada of a pratipadika, which is a noun. So that's one thing that we need to know. So we have all of these words, and the first thing that we begin is with words like simple words like Ramaha, Ishwaraha, Balakaha, Manushyaha, Nripaha, Vidyalayah, and Gramaha. So all of these words, and we also see a common thing in all of these words. What is that? The common thing in all of, let me increase the size a little bit, helps me to write a few things. I'll first erase this portion. So, very important to know what is common in all of these things in the noun terms. If you look at this curly bracket, this thing, what is the common element? All of these words, all of these shabdas have an a ending. They end with the akshara a. Very important. And hence they are called akaranta. That is, they end with a. Akaranta. So please, if somebody is taking notes, it would be nice If not, then at least try to keep it in mind. So, akaranta.
But if it is specified that which part, because which part are to be taken notes of, it
Hmm.
would help.
Sure, sure, sure. I would do that. I will tell. So, all of these things, you can just make a list of these names and just have a note that okay, words like Ramaha, Ishwaraha, Balakaha, what is common in them? The thing that is common is they all end with the syllable akshara, a. They end with a. Same goes for Vidyalayaha, Gramaha, and all that. So, and these are all akaranta, that's one thing. Then these are all prathama, yeah, and we will come to that by the way. And these are all sangya or sarvanamas. So nouns or pronouns, rather, sorry, proper noun I should have not said, pronouns. So we have pronouns like saha, tau, te, and we have the simple nouns. And apart from that, we have a list of dhatus. Now, with the dhatus, we are currently not concerned with what they end, but I mean, what akshara they end with for the time being. We need to look at that later when we look at the sutras and all those things. But for the time being, these are some of the common dhatus that are there. So bhu, hona, pat, padhana, gam, jana, to go, has, hasna, to laugh, and then a set of words which these people have. I mean, Kapil Dev Dwivedi, the writer of this text, has denoted as the avyayas. Now, what are these avyayas? The avyayas are words which do not have any vyaya. We say na vyayah, na vyayah iti avyayah. So we have a set of things that we will keep seeing when even when we complete these two volumes of Rachananuvada Kaumudi. These three things. Some dhatus, verbal or roots, and apart from that, we would have avyayas, and then we have the pronouns and the nouns. So we have all of those things that we need to take care of to construct a sentence. For example, and this is the sanketa that we would use all over. So whenever I say ka, that would be sangya and sarvanama. Kha, which is here, if you look at it, is dhatu ya kriya shabda. Ga is avyaya, which is atra, tatra, yatra, kutra, kim. So these are a few things that we will always keep looking at. Now let me do one thing. So this is going to be more interactive, this mode of teaching, instead of being a monologue. So now I will ask each of one of you to read out some parts of the text. So I will begin with Hamir ji. So he can start reading Ka. So just read from Saha till Gramaha with the Hindi also. Just start
Okay.
reading and then stop at Gramaha.
Should I go word by word or should I
Yes, we have to
continuously?
move word by word. Each word and the Hindi. Just go like that.
सह वह तौ वे दोनों ते वे सब कह कौन सर्वनाम रामः राम ईश्वरः ईश्वर बालकः बालक मनुष्यः मनुष्य नृपः राजा विद्यालय विद्यालय ग्रामः गांव.
Stop. Now, Divakar ji, can you start? Can you just read Kha? So start with bhu hona till hasna.
भू होना, पठ पढ़ना, गम जाना, हंस हंसना.
Uh, Prantik ji, can you read G, this part?
Ga to.
G, I mean atra yaha till kin kya.
Okay. Ga atra यहाँ तत्र वहाँ यत्र जहाँ कुत्र कहाँ किम क्या.
So fine, samyak. Now we look at why. So it's important to have this again and again, so that, and we will do this for all lessons, all abhyasas. So I will keep asking people to give answers, be more involved. So you look at the niyamas now. So one is, so the first niyama that these are suchanas, not even niyamas. So the first suchana that has been given is how we look at that book. Whenever you see a ka, you would understand sangya sarvanama, kha is dhatu ya kriya, ga is avyaya ya kriya visheshana, gha is visheshana shabda. Now second is uh, this one is not that important, but chinha. So when we look at this chinha, if we have a look at this, they haven't given the chinha here, but anyway, so राम ग्राम अथवा ऊपर शब्दकोश में दिए राम से ग्राम तक के सारे शब्द. If somebody says Ram till grama like this with this symbol, then you have to understand that it contains everything from Rama till grama. The other thing is, if I say Rama till grama, Ramavat chalenge, then it means all the words from Rama till grama, like Ramaha, Ishwaraha, Balakaha, Manushya, will be undergoing similar modifications, like Ramaha, I mean, like Rama. Same goes for the dhatus. We will have similar modifications for the dhatus.
I didn't get this part. Means can it be cited with certain analogy?
Yes. So, like here, look at this. Rama till grama. Whenever they say Rama till grama, you will have to understand that the first word here, Rama, the Shabda Rupas for all words from Rama till grama, and ones that are all obviously in between them, will have the same modifications, the same Shabda Rupas. So, what is Rama and Grama? This is a Pratipadika. But when you want to make padas out of it, the modifications that all of the words like Ishvara, Grama will undergo will be the same as Rama. And I will come to that. I will quickly come to that. The other is Bhu to Has. If something is written like this, Bhu till Has, that means all the words, including Bhu, Has, and what are in between as well, will undergo similar modifications as Bhu. Now, what are these modifications? Now we are going to look at, and I think that will answer it properly. So, let us go to one of these prishthas. So I hope these are all visible, but even if it's not visible, I mean, I'm just trying to locate where are the, yeah. So yes, we have got the Shabda Rupas here. So let me tell what this means. Very important, and everybody has to practice this. So that's the key. So it's, I mean, there is no,
Practice as in completely mug up, isn't it?
for the time being mug up or just write it, because uh, yeah, there is a problem with this PDF, as in these borders are all eaten up. So here you have to understand it's Ramaha, not something like, I mean, so you have to always read these as Ramaha. Yeah, so for the timing, yes, some amount of mugging up is required. But yeah, I mean, these are simple, so I don't think we need much efforts. But anyway, so what are these? Now, the book doesn't uh, explain this in great detail. Uh, I mean, at least this Sangraha of Shabda Rupas. So, let us look at this. This is, I will keep filling it. This is Eka, the other is Dvi, Dvi, and the third is Bahu. So Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam, and Bahuvachanam. Now many languages like Hindi do not have this feature of three lingas. In Hindi we have two. Bengali has three. I don't know what about. What is? I mean, how Assamese works. But yeah, it would be. So many Indian languages have three lingas, like in Samskrita,
Yes, Assamese has.
and
Assamese
three
has.
vachanas. Sorry, three vachanas and three lingas also. So Assamese, I don't know whether Assamese has three vachanas. Lingas, I think it would have. But what about the vachanas? Are there something like
No,
uh,
Vachanas I don't know.
huh. So three lingas would be there. Vachanas here in Sanskrita we have three vachanas. Eka vachanam, so one, dvivachanam, two, and bahuvachanam, that is three. And similarly, we have, if if you just focus on this curly bracket, and I will mention this thing. So the first row in this curly bracket, that is Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, represents something called as the Prathama Vibhakti. Prathama, Prathama Vibhakti. And the second line or the second row under this curly bracket represents Dvitiya, Dvitiya Vibhakti. We will come to what it means quickly. So, we have a Kriya, an action in any sentence. We have a Kriya in any sentence. That is, uh, even being there. If I say asti, that is also a kriya. That is also a kriya pada in Samskrita. It is considered as a kriya pada in Samskrita. Now, we always keep saying these things in philosophical parlance, that being and becoming and all that. So there's a difference between being and becoming. But at least in our context in Vyakarana, if we keep the discussion very restricted for the time being, even something like asti, hona, is also considered as a kriya. But let us focus on this part. So there is a kriya, and generally, if not always, we expect a karta to be there. Not always. There are many kriyas that do not require a karta. We will look at that later. But there are kriyas which requires karta. Example, Ramah Ravanam Marayati. राम रावण को मारते हैं या मारता है फॉर द टाइम बी. सो राम रावणम मारयति. So if I say Ravanam Marayati, the question will be who kills Ravana? Therefore, that particular Kriya requires a doer or a karta. A doer or a karta. Very important. Karta. And just like we have a karta, the karta, if I say Rama Marayati, Ram marta hai. Rama kills whom? Kisko? So we have a karma, And see, this is the difference between common parlance and a technical discussion. We are saying Ramaha मारयति. कम मारयति, इसको मारता है. Who is that locus of action? On whom is it being operated? Who is the target of this action? We want to know. And then we require to fill the blank with something. We say Ravanam marayati. Ravan ko marta hai. Therefore, the karta has a target. The karta has a target. These are very simple things that I'm talking about, and we will look at it in much more technical detail later. But there is a karta and there is a karma. So, karta is Ramaha. There is a target on which that kriya is being performed by the karta. That is called as karma. And karma, now what we do in common usage in Hindi or even in English or other Indian languages, we say karma is action. And that is how we have been trained to think. Karmanye vadhikaraste, we say. So that is karma mein hi tumhara adhikar hai, we would say. And what is that karma in Gita? At least for that context, the yuddha. Now when I say yuddha, yudhyati, Arjunaha, yudhyati, that will be called from a philosophical perspective as a karma, and from a vyakaranam perspective it is kriya. And we generally in common parlance take karma and is equal to kriya, but that is not how it works. Karma in vyakarana is the target of the karta. So you can write this definition, very important. That is, if my handwriting is not clear, just stop me, because I am writing it with the mouse and I don't have much expertise. Kartu, there is a ref on the. Kartu reepsitamam. Reep, there is dirgha e on ra. Kartu reepsi tamam. Karturipsi tamam karma. That's all. What is this? I will define it. And you can write. I will not write this now. Kartas ipsitama. The desired object or the target of the karta. Kartuhu, of the karta. Karta ka. Ipsitama. Ipsitama. That is, the desired object, target is karma. And how does the karta reach or achieve something related to this karma? By doing the kriya. That is the dhatu rupas. Bhu, has, all those things would be required over there. So, to create karta and karma, we require a sangya or a sarvanama. Very clear. So we require a sangya or a sarvanama, please take note, to create a karta and a karma and associate them. And what else is required to associate them? The kriya. Kriya is most necessary. So that is one thing. Now let me again erase a few things over here. Now let us look at this whole idea. Ramah, Ramau, Ramaha, Prathama Vibhakti. This is also known as the Karmakaraka. This is also known as the Karmakaraka. This is Karmakaraka. Sorry, Karta Karaka, not karma, sorry. Karta Karaka. This is the kartakar. Karta. And you can just write not even karaka. We will come to karaka theory later. But just karta. And what is this? Ramam. This is karma. So, if I say prantikah prichhati. So there is a kriya. Prichhati is coming from a particular verbal root, verb root, which means to ask. So we are saying prantikah prichhati. The follow up would be kya? Kisko? किसको पृच्छति प्रांतिकः पृच्छति कम किसको देन वी से प्रांतिकः रामं पृच्छति therefore प्रांतिकः किसको पूछता है राम को पूछता है so प्रांतिक is the karta there is a dhatu there is a particular verb root which is undergoing some transformation and it requires something on which that kriya will act on. And that something on which the kriya will act on is the karma. So we are saying prantikah, the karta, is doing some kriya, prichhati, on whom, what is the target of prantik, who is the target of prantik, that is Ramam. So we have these two vibhakti. Now we were only concerned till now with Ramah and Ramam. What if there are many Ramas? So suppose there is Tenali Rama, there is Parshurama, there is Kodanda Rama, and then there is Balarama. All of these are Ramas, and I'm calling all of them as one common name, not as Balarama, Kodanda Rama, and all that. We're just calling all of these Ramas as Rama. Simple. I will not use all those big names, Parshurama, Kodanda Rama, and all. I will call everybody Rama. So if there are many Ramas, and if Prantika asks questions to these many Ramas, then he will say, Prantikah Raman Prichhati. Prantikah Raman Prichhati. And also, if there are many Ramas who are eating or who are going somewhere, who are going to school or whatever, who are going, just for example, who are going somewhere. So, if there are many Ramas who are going somewhere, so then those Ramas who are going somewhere, those Ramas would be the Kartas. So, not Raman anymore. It will be Ramaha. We will say Ramaha Gachanti. I will come to how this Gachanti and everything is coming up. But, and suppose there are two Ramas, just two Ramas, Balarama and Parashurama. Then we will say Ramau Gachataha. I will come to how this Gachati, Gachataha, those things are working. But for the time being, Ramau Gachataha, we will say. And here, when there is a, when you see this sign, it means it will work just like the one that is above. You know this from mathematics school, we have seen all this. So, Ramah, Ramau, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramau, Raman. Now we go back to the first part of the Abhyasa. We go back and see what is there. Apart from that, we are saying Rama ke tulya hi Ishwar adi ke bhi roop chalao. So we have a few words over here. So I will just do one example and then ask someone among you. Ramah के समान ही ईश्वर etc. के रूप चलेंगे. So it will be, if I say Prathama Vibhakti, it will be ईश्वरः, ईश्वरौ, ईश्वराः, and Dvitiya Vibhakti will be Ishwaram, Ishwarau, Ishwaran. Okay, and now we start asking questions. So this will go to Divakar ji. So Divakar ji, Manushya, what will be the Prathama and the
मनुष्य
Dvitiya Vibhakti?
प्रथमा विभक्ति मनुष्यः मनुष्यो मनुष्याः द्वितीय विभक्ति मनुष्यम मनुष्यो मनुष्यान्
Okay, Prantik ji, Vidyalay, this one. Okay, so I will do this. Vidyalayah, Vidyalayau, Vidyalayah, Vidyalayam, Vidyalayau, Vidyalayan. And then Gramah, Hamid ji, Gramah.
Yes, Gramah will be Gramah, Gramau, Gramaha, Gramam, Gramau, Graman.
Perfect. So we have these things. Now we come to something more, and that is लट का अर्थ है वर्तमान काल. So we have 10 kinds of tenses. Just like in English, we have present continuous and all that. And we have present tense, past tense, future tense. We have something similar in Sanskrit as well. We have something additional also, by the way. And then we can also create some tenses through different suffixes. We will come to that later. But we have lat lakara for the time being. Lat lakara. So what will we say? Lat lakara. Let us read this first. प्रथम पुरुष में धातु के अंत में एक वचन में अति, द्विवचन में अतः, बहुवचन में अंति लगेगा. इसी प्रकार पठ आदि के भी रूप बनाओ. लट आदि में गम का गच्छ हो जाता है. गच्छति, गच्छतः, गच्छन्ति. Those things. But we will come to this quickly. Let us first look at the dhatus again. We had dhatus like bhu, hona, pat, padhana, gam, jana, has, hasana. So we will go to the dhatus now. So let us go to the dhatus. Let me see if there is something we can quickly look at. Dhatus would be, okay, we had, they have given pashyati and all that. So we can look at that example also. So bhu, hona, something is happening. So they're saying bhu ke tulya chalenge. So we will quickly look at bhu, hona, would be, it would come somewhere in the beginning only, should come, yes, yes. So it's easy to show. Again, just pardon for the printing issues or the scanning issues over here. So this is bhavati, bhavasi, and this is bhavami. Anyway, so what is this lat lakara? Lat lakara is, for the time being, you can take this as present tense. And they are saying this parasmai padi dhatu. I will come to what parasmai padi means later in another class. But for the time being, there are two things that we need to know. One, there are around 2000 plus dhatus in Sanskrit. And those dhatus represent different kinds of kriyas. Also, those dhatus are divided into 10 classes, 10 classes, which are called as ganas. And each of the ganas are named after the first dhatu in that gana. So when I say bhavadi gana, vadi gana, that vadi gana is basically the gana in which the first uh, vadi gana, bhavadi gana is
ठीक है.
the first gana. So this is the gana with the first dhatu as who, hona, who, hona. This is the first dhatu. Now with this bhavadi gana, there are a few other things that we need to know. This Rachananuvadak Talmud is saying that, and again, we have to divide it into three classes. If you look at this curly bracket again, this curly bracket, the first row represents something called as uh, Prathama Purusha. Can somebody, yeah, I see a mic sound coming. Can you please, I cannot actually mute because I have to again go back to the screen. Yeah, Prathama Purusha. This is Prathama Purusha. Then there is Madhyama Purusha. Madhyama is the second one in the curly bracket. Bhavasi. Third is Uttama Purusha. We will come to those later. But what are these Prathama Purusha, Madhyama Purusha, and Uttama Purushas? Very important to understand. Uttama Purushas. Yes. So, Prathama, Madhyama, Uttama. Prathama Purusha is what we have as the third person in English. Very ulta. It's very different. So, in English we say Sachin scores a century. That is in third person. But when we say something like Sachinah cricket क्रीडायां शतमानं शतमानं labhyate. He has got a century, something like that. Shatamanam labhyate. Now, when we say something like this, Sachinaha in Sanskrita would therefore become the Prathama Purusha. Very ulta, as I said. In English, this is third person. In our case, this is Prathama Purusha. That is, Sachin is the Prathama Purusha. So if I say Sachinah कार्यावस कार्यावसनात् सुखी भवति. सचिन कार्य का अवसान होने से, कार्यावसनात्, कार्य का अवसान होने के कारण, that is because of retirement, he is now happy. So over there, if you look at it, bhavati, I am saying bhavati, hota hai, has become, is happy because of retirement. If I say something like that, bhavati. So this bhavati, bhavatah, bhavanti, and when you look at the three columns, the first column represents ekavachanam, second column represents dvivachanam, third column represents bahuvachanam. So ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam. Now why are these so important? Ekavachanam is important because it will indicate something related to one person. Dvivachanam will indicate something related to two people. Bahuvachanam of the Kriya here will represent something related to three or more people. So, bhavati, bhavatah, bhavanti. If there are many Sachins, we will say Sachinaha, Sukhinaha, bhavanti. That way. So, very important to understand that all of these are associated with, so this is associated with one karta, this is with two kartas, and this one is with three kartas. bhavanti. So 1, so this is 3, this is 2, this is 1. Uh, okay, I will quickly erase this. Yeah. So we have now covered some part of the abhyasa. I mean, the first few concepts of Vyakarana. And this is lat lakara. Hota hai. Today, present tense. So very important to know this. Then there are other lakaras also. So in Sanskrita, each dhatu will have 10 lakaras, more or less. Or rather, I should say many, so 10 lakaras would be there for dhatus. And there are many dhatus which are divided into 10 ganas or 10 categories. There are other ways also in which you can categorize dhatus. One of them is you can categorize them as Parasmaipadi, Atmanepadi, and Ubhayapadi. We will come to that later. But let us first, as a priority, go to the Abhyasa 1. Yes. So, we have done up till this. कर्ता के अनुसार क्रिया का वचन और पुरुष होता है. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. कर्ता के अनुसार क्रिया का वचन और पुरुष होता है. जैसे सह पठती, सह पठती. What does this mean? If there is a karta and the kartas, there are many kinds of shabdarupas, okay? So one is, of course, you are referring to a third person, that kind of shabdarupa, Ramah, Ramau. The other kind of shabdas that can be, there is aham, tvam, those things. So, as I said, there is prathama purusha of a dhatu. There are other purushas also, and we should go and see this once. So I will just take any random dhatu for the time being. Or rather, we can take something simple also. So here, say prichhati, puchana. Okay. So this is the second line, if you see this part. Prichhasi, prichathaha, prichatha represents when I'm talking to you people, when I'm referring or when I'm conversing with somebody, the second person, the other person with whom I'm conversing, we are saying tum dono, you two. Or if I say tum teen ya teen se zyada, tum bahut sare log. If I'm saying it in that sense, then that is called as Madhyama Purusha. And the third is the Uttama Purusha, which is when I'm talking to me or we both or we three or three more than three. That is the other thing. So it was said, Karta ke anusar kriya ka purush evam vachan hota hai. So if I say prichhami, it would be aham prichhami. मैं पूछता हूं. पृच्छावह, हम दोनों पूछते हैं. पृच्छामह, हम तीनों पूछते हैं. And if I say something like this, पृच्छसि, then it will be तुम पूछ रहे हो. पृच्छथः, it would become like तुम दोनों पूछ रहे हो. You both are asking. पृच्छथ, तुम तीन या तीन से ज्यादा लोग, बहुत सारे लोग पूछ रहे हो. समथिंग लाइक दिस. सो पृच्छति इज वो पूछता है. पृच्छतः इज वो दोनों पूछते हैं. पृच्छन्ति इज वो तीन या तीन से ज्यादा बहुत सारे लोग पूछते हैं. सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग विद द चेंज इन द कर्ता. इफ द कर्ता इज वो या राम, देन इट इज बिकमिंग प्रथम पुरुष. सो कर्ता के अनुसार पुरुष बदल गया. इफ आई से बहुत सारे राम, तो रामाहा, तो उसके अनुसार देयर विल बी पृच्छन्ति. सो रामः पृच्छति विल बिकम रामाः पृच्छन्ति और रामौ पृच्छतः, in that way. And similarly for this one also, and of course the madhyama purusha. So कर्ता के अनुसार क्रिया का vachana evam रूप. So you cannot say tvam prichhati. You will have to say tvam prichhasi. कर्ता के अनुसार बदलना पड़ेगा. Tvam, right? So tvam is madhyama purusha. Then you cannot use prich धातु का लट लकार का प्रथम पुरुषा पृच्छति पृच्छतः like that. You will have to go one layer down. You will have to say मध्यम पुरुषा पृच्छसि त्वं पृच्छसि तुम पूछते हो. So it is in that sense that we will use it. Okay. So we now go to the abhyasa again, and we are asked to do a few things. भू पट गम हस के लट प्रथम पुरुष के रूप लिखो. ओनली प्रथम पुरुष दे आर आस्किंग. Oh, sorry. I skipped a few things. Sorry. This is no, this that part we will do in the later class. This is तीनों लिंगों में धातु का रूप वही रहता है. कर्ता में प्रथमा होती है, कर्म में द्वितीया. This we have already seen. And then we are saying तीनों लिंगों में धातु का रूप नहीं बदलता है. In Hindi we say something like लड़का खाता है, लड़की खाती है. So the dhatu is changing, but in English we say the boy eats, the girl eats. Similarly, in Sanskrita, the dhatu will not have any change by virtue of the change in the linga, that is whether it's strilinga or pumlinga or napumsakalinga. It will not change on the basis of that. So it will be Ramah khadati, Sita also Sita khadati. So no change in the dhatu. तो तीनों लिंगों में धातु का रूप वही रहता है. So this is the first part. So we have looked at two things. We have looked at two vibhaktis, karta and karma. We have looked at the lat lakara, prathama purusha. Only this much. Although I did discuss something on the uttama and madhyama purusha. So we can, for the time being, for the records, we have just done prathama purusha, and we have looked at the prathama and dvitiya vibhaktis of akaranta pumlinga shabdas. So we now should be able to construct shabda rupas for Ishvara, Grama, Vidyalaya, all that. Okay. So this is what I wanted to cover today. Just stop the recording and then we will take up some questions. But I will stop the recording for the time being. We will end with the Mangala Charana. Yenakshara samamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha. Vakyakaram vararuchim bhashyakaram patanjalim paninim sutrakarancha pranatosmi munitrayam. So with this I will end